this all works. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is ZA6YI, and yeah, the stream's coming on. It's a bit slow today on YouTube, but anyway, it seems to be there, a bit behind times. I want to take this opportunity, of course, of thanking the Qatar Satellite Company for allowing us the opportunity to be on their satellite with our amateur radio satellite, a satellite that was developed by radio amateurs and run by the Germans under the AMSAT DL group, and they did a fantastic job. And then the AMSAT UK also had a hand in getting us onto this satellite, and then the BATC has got a fantastic site, and I urge everybody that's interested in amateur television to get onto the BATC site, because there's so much to learn. They show you exactly how to receive and transmit DATV television. So it's a phenomenal group of people that got together and assisted the amateurs to come onto this first geostationary satellite we have. And we're very blessed to have it, for sure. It's been going for some years now, so we don't have many years left. And then I believe there is something else in the pipeline. We certainly hope so, because this has been a wonderful medium to get many technical amateur radio operators together. Right, let's just have a look, see who's on frequency today. And we have the following. We have myself, of course, and then hello to Henry. Welcome back. That's ZS6 Mike Charlie. He's back from Portugal. He's back in South Africa. Puts out a good signal. So we'll look forward to seeing you just now after all that absence there, Henry. Welcome back to the net. Hello to Paul, a Golf 6 Mike November Juliet in Cornwall, the UK, of course. Wonderful to see you on, Paul, again. Hello to Benno in the Netherlands, Papa Alpha 3 Fox Bravo X-Ray. And hello to Peter in Wales, Golf Whiskey 7 BZY. And of course to Martin, G8KOE. And that's all we have on the list today. So it's not going to be a long net. We'll have 2 overs, I think, and then we'll go off. Let me just get the microphone back. So very nice indeed to see you guys on. And I'm sure the guys on YouTube, let me see, I don't see any chats just yet, but normally we have a number of guys coming up, so that's all great. Okay, let me switch the transmitter off and pass it to Henry, ZS6 Mike Charlie. Will you please take it from ZS6 Yankee India?
And really much appreciated, and great to be on today. I noticed that I don't seem to have my audio, so I just want to get that sorted out. Apologies for that. No, I don't know where my audio's gone. Let's see. I'm definitely the USB microphone. Let's try again. Okay, Gary, maybe just you taking over, and let me see if I can get to my audio, if you don't mind. Typical Murphy's Law at the present moment. So let me just switch off for a second, and then you can just hand it over to the next person, Gary.
Audio perfect, so I don't know what the issue is. Why am I battling? Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, Henry, it took a long time for me to lock on. No, your audio is perfect. Henry, it took a long your audio is absolutely perfect. We've copied every word. So I don't know if you want to continue with your over. Maybe you just didn't have your receiver on. But audio, absolute 100%. Back to you, ZS6 Mike Charlie. And then you pass it to Paul in Cornwall. ZS6 Mike Charlie from ZS6YI.
things, I suppose. We'll see what happens. Maybe what I should do is just lock myself on. And then I think maybe things would start working better. There we go. It just shows you what happens when you don't operate for a long time on DATV. And you got to get all your fingers and toes and all in the same direction, Gary. So thank you very much to everyone being patient with me today. Yes, I've been away for quite a while. I think it's nearly 2 years. So I'm very, 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 very pleased and very happy to be back on again. And I've been spending the past month and a bit getting all my equipment back into operation and making sure everything's fine. Even my Plutos, I took them and I had the proper crystals put in, the 40 megahertz crystals with an 0.5 part per million calibration accuracy. And yes, just been doing little odds and ends and getting everything ready again. So yeah, it's just great to be on and to be very honest. From my side, I have done all that. And similarly, I've also started looking at how I can operate and make life a little bit easier with regards to the power situation in my secondary shack, which is about 30 meters behind me. And I feed it with LAN cables so that I can actually run the Pluto via the LAN and remotely. And yes, that is really trying to get everything remotely done. I've bought some PoE splitters, so that I only need to use a switch in that room, plus then feeding it out to each one of the Plutos. So I've dedicated one Pluto for narrowband and one Pluto for wideband or for DATV, just to make life a little bit easier for me. Because running around with all these little power supplies, war warts and all, I do believe causes a lot of interference and stuff around the shack. So I want to try and prevent that from happening. But yes, that's what I've been doing, and hopefully this week I'll be complete with it. Unfortunately, next Sunday I won't be here. I will be traveling on my way down to Cape Town and going to visit family. So you can understand it becomes a major family event when one gets back from overseas. Besides the PoE splitters, Gary and I did some tests the other night, and I couldn't understand why my Winterhill was not locking on, and in fact my Pluto was not locking on. And I found that I connected my GPS DO disciplined oscillator straight onto the Pluto, onto the 40 megahertz crystal, and the jitter that occurred between the two would not allow me to actually lock on to the signal. Well, after about 2 hours of painstakingly thinking about it, I sorted it out, unplugged the GPS DO, and everything's back to normal again. So Gary, you might find that I'm slightly off frequency. I can't. I've got to look up there to see what the frequency is doing. But regardless of that, I think I'm getting through okay. I just want to say thanks a lot for everybody who makes this possible for us. A really fantastic hobby and a fantastic mode of operation. So, Paul, you are next on the list, and if I've forgotten anything, please forgive me. Golf 6, Mike November Juliet, Paul in Movexgisi, Cornwall. So over to you. Please go ahead.
Whoa, that's massive. That's massive. That's too small. There we go, that'll do. Right. That's too small. Let's just mute my television. I know the audio is getting through. Well, that was fun. I realised at 5 to 3 I was still doing gardening things, so I rapidly packed those away, came in, switched all the computer kit on to discover my main USB camera isn't working. Probably a Windows update. So I've fallen back to that one, which is fuzzy vision. It's not very nice, but it works. So just more than the normal one does. And then, of course, like yourself, I've been playing with Plutos, and this is how disorganized I am. I will show you a picture on my phone. There we go. That's a Pluto in a metal box with Ethernet adapter and 5-volt supply, so I can plug it into the 12 volts, and it's a metal box, and the RF out the back. I've been buying some Plutos from AliExpress China and boxing them up in metal cases to reduce exactly what you're talking about, the interference, and also getting them all to the same standard. The one I'm using though is still in a plastic case, so I haven't done that one yet, but I've got the 70 centimetre one over there, in fact, that way, near the 400 watt amplifier. That's all working perfectly. Yeah, I did say 400. I run it at about 100, 150, and it produces a most amazingly clean signal. Shoulders 50 dB down. The 23 centimetre one up there on the shelf, that was originally one of the very, very early add-on Plutos, and it wouldn't go above 1 megasymbols, and if you did, you just keyed on and off all the time, which was pretty useless. So that now works at 2 megasymbols, and it's more up to date. The one I've replaced it, the one that I took out to replace it, is over on the workbench, and it's going to be used with Satsugen and on other tools for spectrum analysing, etc. Perfect for that. But I've still got to do the one for 2.4 gigs, and oh yeah, I use a ports down and a Lime SDR for 2 meters. So I've got 2 meters, 70 centimeters, 23 centimeters, and 2.4 gigs, and and a non-functioning nice USB camera. In fact, we were talking about USB cameras last week, and I kind of forgot to mention, and it kind of supports everything that was said last week. I paid in our currency just under £10, which it's next to nothing for the camera that at the moment it's not working, and I'll put money on it is a Windows update. But anyway, it produces the most amazing quality pictures. It's incredible. Whereas this thing is a trust camera, and it's like 80 quid, and it's nowhere near as good. So anyway, whatever. I've not been quite as busy as I have been this week, although I've just stated all the things I have done with reboxing these Plutos, which I am very impressed with. The other thing I'm impressed with, I've loaded the 0303 Perseverance main software, and on top of that put the ISO GRB patch, which makes operating it just so much nicer. Everything's in one screen. You can colorize the screen. I'm just going to look on there, see who's next. Oh, it's Benno next. Right. So at a glance, I've colorized each different band, so that I can identify just by looking at it without having to read the screen which frequency, albeit the frequency's there in great big letters, but even so, I can associate the colour with the band, which I think is quite useful. Anyway, so that's about it really. panic over this end. Things are working, so don't worry about your microphone over there, Henry. That was fine. As opposed to my camera, which really isn't fine. It doesn't even put the little red light on. Never mind, eh? But today is very different here than it was last week. Last week I had to run considerably more power. Hence when I came up it was a rather large signal, because it was absolutely teeming down with rain here in Cornwall. And for those of you who are watching the Goonhilly little bar chart thing to tell us all who's using what and when, that was jumping up and down like it was on a trampoline. And that was the rain, that was pure and simply the rain. And I mean, I'm running minus 12 dB drive into my system. It was minus 6 when I started. So it needed an extra 6 dB, 4 times the power to push through the rain clouds last week. Today, however, for the first time probably since the end of December, we have a blue sky. Not used to that. Little white fluffy clouds, and there's this orange thing which is glowing, and if you go outside and stand for a minute or two, you warm up in it. It's a very strange concept, just not used to it. So Benno, I'll pass it to you. PA3FBX, this is Golf 6 Mike November Juliet, over to you.
Switch off the noise, so I don't have the feedback. Hi guys. Hi Paul. Yeah, well, we need a little bit of your sunshine because we had enough rain over the last few days. I'm watching at an Italian guy, probably using a hack RF and everything over 250. He produces this disgusting signal. It probably is a well, it looks like a hack RF. I know hack RF does that kind of signal if you're overturning it. Well, anyway, he's probably not watching us. So he's probably don't hear it anyway. Henry, perfect signal, perfect audio, a little bit slightly off frequency, but if you notice that, you just retune and everything is perfect. Perfect audio, no problem. So don't question your transmitter, question your receiver. Hi. And coming back, yeah, well, you didn't mention where you were. I thought I heard you were abroad overseas, and I understand for a longer time. So, where were you over the last year and a half? Anyway, doesn't matter. Gladly you are back. And no problem in your signal. Let's turn it a little bit down. I'm a little bit high at the moment. But with so much noise on the band, I thought I'd turn it a little bit up. Well, I'm also playing with still playing with Plutos, but with all the other clones, like the fishbowl and things like that. Our German friend is doing a marvelous job on a Libra SDR, as our French friend Everest is still wondering on getting how much more data through the to the hardware, and that is good. But he forgot our he still doesn't included the DATV PGA. So yeah, you have a lot of problems in organizing it all on your PC. It works flawlessly, but you need to do everything on the computer, and you need a decent computer for that. And that same goes for SDR TV, which is a very nice development of Simon. But yeah, you need good PCs for that, and don't touch the PC while you're transmitting. Otherwise, you get yourself into problems. And because I'm running normally multiple stuff on my PC while I'm transmitting, especially when I'm transmitting for for local terrestrial, I'm doing more stuff on my PC, and then I see it starts to hit the limited, and you get problems in your transmitter. And with the Everest versions, which is still available, the old versions, and now with the German Manfred additions to the Libre, and he's also working on Fishbowl a little bit on request. So he started to work there, and I hope we get also nice versions on there, and we can use the Fishbowl's PGAs as doing the hard encoder work. So yeah, I should watch the chat. A lot of things going on the chat, but no comments on my signal yet. Well, that's basically all for now. I'm passing it on to Peter. BZY, frequencies all yours from Papa Alpha 3 Foxtrot Bravo X-Ray, and I add a test card and a little bit music for the transfer.
Okay, GW7BZY, all working. I haven't switched it on since I was last on, I think. Yeah, am I in? Receive's taking a while to settle here. Okay, G7BZY, all working. Yeah, I don't know if it's me or the young receiver. But anyway, all's good. Yeah, excellent stuff. Webcam. I use a Magwell HDMI to USB capture device. I had it about 15 years. It's never let me down. It's a brilliant bit of kit. I think Magewell are the best converters for reliability. It never misses a beat. Windows changes, it still works. It just works, and that's what I like to happen. Of course, I don't use OBS, so I don't have any problem with my sounds. But I did have a problem with my sound yesterday when Windows obviously updated, and my Bluetooth wouldn't work, and I have Bluetooth speakers on the radio, on the computer, so that was a bit of a problem. I can't work SDR television. I assume it's to do with Pluto not having custom firmware. It does kind of work in my laptop, but I think my laptop's a bit old now. I was quite surprised. It was quite expensive at the time. It seemed to have got old all of a sudden. And whilst it does boot up, it doesn't seem to receive or transmit anything. So I may well be forced to purchase a new PC. And since the wife's banned me from motorbikes now, I've got a good excuse. What I have purchased radio-wise is one of these little 77 amplifiers. You may have heard of them. It just needs a bias current into a certain area. There's instructions on interweb. I should have got a 70 centimeters, obviously. That's going to work for my amateur television. I have a DVB-T transmitter that, if they have the repeater on Nebo on Anglesey, gets back into action, I shall transmit to that, and that should be good. I think it puts 70 watts, 75 watts out, but I'm hoping it's going to be digital, so it'll work reasonably well for DVB-T, as you only get about 10% of a decent signal out of whatever the amplifier is rated for, in my experience. And then only a good amplifier. What else? I've been playing with Casper CG recently. It's a play-out program. This is just maybe to Chris if you're watching. You like your play-out. Well, you want to look into Casper CG. There are several. There's a client for it and a scanner, and it's quite a good thing. I'm gonna have my own internal TV channel, so I'm learning how to work it. I've got a DVD-ROM drive and I went on eBay and bought £12 from Oxfam 50 CDs, not CDs, DVDs, and I've got another 100 DVDs coming. So it's surprisingly cheap and easy to get hold of numerous CDs and DVDs and Blu-rays here soon, but I haven't got as far as that. I'm going to start off with 720 standard resolution. I do, but I'm resisting the urge, so far at least. But I want to have adverts, breaks, and now and next. So, the usual thing that people have on their own TV channel. I do have a little modulator, so I can watch it on my television locally, via cable, obviously. So that's all good. That's what I've been doing. I've been learning how to program the old Casper CG. And I don't know if that guy who did the DATV Reds about Gary, but that would be interesting if that was a little bit modified, so I could add video filters, etc. And that would be good. But anyway, that's why I'm going to got excuse to buy a new PC, is that I'm going to run my TV channel from it. I'm just waiting for some of these new Nova Lakes. Is it? I don't know what the Panther Lake maybe, or Nova Lake chipsets are coming out, and that will work really well, and that'll suffice. Especially if I get the K series with the onboard graphics. I'll have two graphics encoders, the NVIDIA one and the Intel Arc one, which would be fantastic. Anyway, with that, do I want to say anything? Yeah, USB camera seems to be working well there. Something else somebody said, the rain, the weather. It's been nice here today. The sun's been shining in the back of my room here, into the window. I've got the blinds closed, but it's been really bright and making it hard for me to see the TV, the computer screen. It's been nice, although yesterday it was very foggy and drizzled all day. But we've had a few dry-ish days of late, which is great for North Wales. Perhaps even better in Cornwall. I have been down Cornwall a number of times, and I found that although it's warmer there, the weather isn't better. If anything, it's worse in some ways, and more cloudy or foggy. So I've stuck to the south coast now. So Eastbourne is my destination. I tried Cornwall for a number of years. Penzance. I used to go down to Penzance, but no longer, no more. With that, I'm going to hand it round. I forget who I'm going to hand it to. Is it worth looking? No, I've lost it. So I'm going to hand it round to somebody from GW7BZY with a test card and a Theta Black. I have a 50-inch monitor now, by the way, so I can actually see what the outgoing is.
Right, well, it looks like we've got a bit of audio. Just hearing it come back in one's ear. Let's mute that there. To you there, Gary. Your audio level between your normal broadcast and then when you go over to the screen to show the who's on, that is louder at the moment. It was the other way round the other week. Oh dear, I've just gone out of focus briefly. We put a bit more lighting on in the chat, but there was a slight difference in audio level. Not a major problem, but the audio level sounds almost nicer, I think, on the for me anyway. It's a bit louder, but anyway, just thought we'd mention that. I'm running a Star television, as you probably gathered, on my PC, which has run various other things. We've got obviously that's screen one. Well, I've got 3 monitors, so that's monitor 1, which has got all those sort of bits. Screen 2 is where SDR television's on at the moment, and screen 3 has got OBS on. Not OBS, OpenTuner. If that hasn't confused anybody, nothing has. So there we go, out of focus again. I'm running that camera and that camera. So I've got various cameras that I can switch between. Yeah, USB seems to throw wobblies. Usually if you deselect and reselect or select something else and come back to it, it'll come back to life. I do have it with the various USB cameras here that they can get upset. Oh, that's it. I've got it controlled from the number keypad on the in OBS, and I tend to get slightly confused with the 3 cameras. What have I been up to? There's a few. I think it was last year. Last week I was whinging about the network, my internet connection not being good, shall we say, going on and off and on and off and on and off. Well, I had various problems still. I booked for an engineer to come on Monday, nobody came. I booked for an engineer to come on Tuesday, nobody came. I booked for an engineer to come on Wednesday, nobody came. And I complained. On Thursday, an engineer did come. And I moaned at him a little bit, and he nearly ran away in tears. Because you've got 2 side of things, BT, and you've got OpenReach, and he was an OpenReach engineer. So it was unfair in some respect that he got the brunt of the service provider, which is BT. Anyway, we overcome that eventually, and I explained to him what I thought the problem was. He'd come to change the G port in the actual box because he said they'd been having problems with the G port and wanted to put me on a different G port. So he went away and did that, I think, and I think he found that wasn't the problem, and then he came back and I had the phone number of the previous engineer that had come here and said that it was a cable problem. So he contacted that person and then went and played in the ducting, putting there's a cable that goes from the box to the pole, multi cable, and he said that wouldn't move. So he reckons that that has got crushed, that with cars and that going over above something. Anyway, he found another cable that did move and put his analyzer on it and tested it left, right and centre and said that looks fine. So he said he had to go away and get another engineer so the 2 of them could actually sort it out. And would mean putting a box up the pole slightly anyway and running things through this cable, bit of cable, which he did. And so far, touch wood, it's been okay. Get roughly, with other things running, I get 40 something up and 300 down, which is not too bad for a bit of copper. So fingers crossed, might be able to keep the network repeater going, and the node that I also run, etc. from here. I've got switched on my Whisper side of things, which seems to be doing reasonably well. So I'm on multiple bands on Whisper. It's been on for a couple of days now. So if we go over to screen, that one, that seems to show something that it's seeing. So on my 100 milliwatts is getting a response from down there on that's on 20 meters, but it's also on 40 meters, 80 meters, etc. 17 meters. Still an update on 17 meters. Oh, it's similar. Certainly getting across the pond as such. So let's go. Oh, I don't want that, do I? That's showing what's connected to my. No, let's go back to the camera. So that's really about it. Other sort of sad thing I've been playing with is, I suppose, a Spectrum. I've got myself a retro Spectrum sort of side of things, which takes me back to my good old days, shall we say. If I can find the right camera, not that camera, I want that camera. There it is. The retro one, but it has USB out on the back, etc. A number of things fitted in. At the moment, it's running a program that a lot of people will probably recognise, which it says, there you go, it's done by Robin Stevens, GadXEU. Let's do a map. Oh, you just don't get things like this anymore. Anyway, we'll get it streaming properly at some stage, but I wasn't sort of geared up. I wasn't actually going to show it this week, but I've got also all sorts of things on there. Even got a copy of Elite that I did Space Game, which never did get into very much. Anyway, right. Let's just check whether anybody else has popped up. Oh, what else we're going to come out? Paul in Mevagissy. I had some sort of a noise on. So there was a noise on your audio with me. Could be my end, sort of a pulsy sort of type noise, but it didn't detract from being able to hear what you were saying. And let's look at the cameras. So that's the sort of a bit of sunshine and some blue sky and like that's we've got a front camera, have we? It says. Well, it's in the sun. So yeah, definitely some blue sky, sunshine, etc. It's the front of the bungalow, which is always a bit better. Anyway, that's a long waffle from me. We go back to, I can see I've been on for 9 minutes and 14 seconds. That's rather a lot. So I think it's back to you there, Gary. I'll put up a test card and pass it over to you from Jack Carey.
HFS, check audio. Oh, seems a bit weak. Let's look at that. Yeah, sorry about that, everybody. Late on parade. Had a senior moment. Shouldn't sit in comfortable chairs with the sunshine out. Fall asleep. Not a lot to say really. Not been up to much. My audio working? Doesn't look right. Let's unmute myself. No, it's not. No, something wrong.
Yeah, Brian, the audio is a little bit not like your normal. So I'm sure you'll get it right in in good time. Anyway, we'll pass it back to you afterwards. I just got a question. Maybe somebody can throw some light on this. I need to do a transmission from like a YouTube channel over the satellite. Now, I've done this before when I take the HDMI out of the laptop, the port, plug it into my video card, and I've never been able to get the audio to work properly. If I take that same HDMI cable and plug it into my TV, or shall we say my monitor, perfect audio, perfect signal. But if I plug it into this main PC, I get a perfect video signal, but the audio sounds like a robotic digital out of sync. So I've even checked that I have the same bit rates, etc. I do. Still not able to receive the audio off the laptop. So what I do in the meantime, I just plug an audio cable into the output, into the headphone output of the laptop, and plug it into the microphone input. It works very well. I've got no complaints. But I would like to just be able to do everything with one cable, HDMI out and into the computer. So I'd like to hear what you guys have to say about that query. I've played around quite a bit and I'm not getting it right. I still get this audio sounds very distorted and digital, you know. I even tried to convert the audio, so we say the video and audio, to a USB port. I've got one of these converters. Beautiful video, no audio then. And I tried always. I got no audio at all. Played around on OBS, on different settings for audio, but no luck. So perhaps somebody's got a quick fix that I can go and try. It'd be nice to just plug it in, and then be able to relay off a thing like WebEx or YouTube or whatever other format there is through the laptop, bang into the PC, and then that I can put onto the onto the DATV Net. And what's caused this, the South African Radio League stroke AIMSAT SA is having quite a nice symposium on the 11th of March, Saturday, starting quite early, but there's some very nice technical discussions. Good, they've got a very nice list of clued up experts going to give their presentations. I did put it on our WhatsApp page the other day, the agenda, and I see Stuart, who's watching us now, right now, on DATV. I think he's going, I don't know how you're receiving, Stuart, if it's direct or is it via YouTube, but I know you comment on YouTube. That's ZR1 Whiskey Tango. He'll be giving a very nice discussion, a presentation on the 11th. So you guys are welcome, because I'll be transmitting it on the first official 333 kilo symbol channel. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 channels up, I think. One. We're on, let's say, the last channel, so it's 1, 2, 3, yeah, 4 channels up. It's the very first segment when it becomes officially narrow channels. I'll be transmitting there, and we'll see how it goes. But anyway, I've got a fix. It works, but I'd like to know if there's a different, more elegant way of doing things. Right, now let's just have a look-see. Brian, are you back this time with better audio? G6HFS, take another over, and you pass it to Henry, ZS6 Mike Charlie. So Golf 6 Hotel Fox Sierra from ZS6YI.
Let's have a look. No, I don't know. Don't know what's happened. Both microphones are squiff. I'll seems better. I just restarted OBS. I'll leave it. I'll say 7.3s, and I'll hand it round to the next station. Sorry about
Yeah, let's just get this on track here, get my frequency set up. I should be fine. Yeah, it's breaking up. I can hear that on my side, but anyway, it's life. Just going to switch it off. I think I've got some form of interference here, and I don't know what it is, and it's on my winter sides, on my receive side, and I'm not 100% sure what's causing it, but I hope you guys can hear me. I have got no monitor facility right now on my side. So there we go. It looks like I'm coming back slowly but surely. All right, so to comment a couple of things on what's been happening and all the comments that everybody has made. Some very, very interesting stuff for me, being back for a while. And Benno, yes, I was in Portugal for about 1.5 to 2 years. So I'm back here now in South Africa at the present moment. All right. What I found interesting from you, Paul, specifically is, the way you've gone and you've taken 0303 and you've combined it with an Italian station software, and really would like to see that in operation. I really seriously would like to see that. And you mentioned that you've got everything color coded, which is really very, very interesting indeed. So let me just make sure. I hope I can. Gary, if you can't get me, just transmit over me and I'll see it. Okay, and yes, that to me was very, very interesting, Paul. G6MNJ. So I'd like to see a little bit more about that. That would be wonderful. Benno, obviously your part of the world, you're doing quite a lot on the fishbowl and Libra. That's interesting stuff. That's interesting stuff indeed. I've been watching a lot on YouTube, and there's a lot of people, not a lot of people, a few people who are doing some excellent work on it. And it's actually very, very interesting to see what's going on. I saw an American ham, I think, who spoke about the fishbowl unit, which was quite something. That was quite an innovative, a very cheap solution, apparently. Yeah. And for you, Peter, Casper CG, you mentioned it, and I had to go and Google it to see exactly what was going on there and seeing what it is all about. It looks like some kind of way in which you can split out audio and video, or combine it. And it's all done software wise. So that's, to me, extremely interesting. Okay, Martin, your setup there is very professional as far as I'm concerned. With all those screens, it looks like you're in an absolute TV studio, and it's really, really smart. And to end it off, you had the ZX Spectrum. So you're a collector of antiques and vintage computers as well. I found that very, very, very interesting. But the one thing that I want to ask on the net here is if anybody has got any kind of power monitor facility, and I saw it on Martin. He's got where he's actually got everything in a round dial format, so that's your voltage, your current, your power into the amplifier, your power out of the amplifier, as well as the temperature of the amplifier. That would be very interesting for me to get to know how to do it. I think a lot of people have actually connected it via a Raspberry Pi, and I'm not sure what is before that, but it could be ESP32 with all the monitors, the actual current and voltage monitors just before that going in there, and then software manipulating the whole setup. But anyway, I've got to read up on that and find out more. I just find it extremely interesting, and at the same time I find it that it's quite a bonus to have that in the shack. And Gary, lastly, I can't help you, my friend, with regards to the HDMI and the audio. Yes, you're quite right. Most cases you can put it into your TV and it separates it out. I don't know why it's not being done in your computer, but there must be something. But you've tried everything, so maybe somebody else has got some what do you call it? Some advice. Anyway, that's enough of me. Gary, so the next person to take it is Paul. And I say good afternoon to everybody, and it was great being on the net today, and I hope you guys could hear exactly what I was saying. So G6MNJ, Paul, and the net, the CZS6MC now going off, but I'll be listening right to the end. Thank you very, very much, guys. It was lovely being on the net with
Okay, right, there's some audio there, which is the first thing we need. Next thing I need is I need to mute the TV before we get me howling around. Now, of course, the monitor I want to look at's there to show you. So I'm going to be rude and turn away for a moment as I switch from the camera there, which should be there, to show you that monitor there. Yeah, I too have got three screens here. The outgoing one is right in front of me, where the camera is. I can't imagine not doing it with one screen. It'd be impossible. Sorry about the noise in the background. My wife is cooking, so something exciting. I think she said chocolate souffle. Right, so let me monitor capture. I need that one. Yeah, that's it. There we go. I've still got a microphone. It's not there yet on the transmitter, but it will be. There we go. And I'll take you through it. Now, obviously, this is the current live one, and I think it would be foolish to play with that. So what I'll do, I've got the three Adam Plutos. The yellow one on 437, the greeny one on 1249, and the red one on 2.4 gigs. So let's play with that one. I can't do much harm there. First things first, nice little display just up here of the video, which of course most people will recognise as a smaller version of that, which was very much part of the software that 0303 Perseverance had on it, but it's tucked away here very conveniently. It's just a guide as you're on the air. It's got memories, so this one is our 437 megs GB3 NQ input. You can store memories, delete memories, modify the label, and I've just noticed there's a capital N there, so that'll need modifying. So let's select that one, and I'll cancel that. I can't be bothered to type that now, we'll deal with that later. You can modify the memory, update the memory, delete all the memories, back them up and restore them. So really useful memory facilities. Apply settings, save to flash, like you're used to seeing. Now what is kind of useful is the transmit alarm. So you can set how long to transmit for, and a volume, and that's the volume here. So if you go beyond a certain transmit time, your speakers on your computer will start alarming. I've turned it off. I didn't like it. Nice, having said that. Then you've got your driver, and this has got a lovely feature. Over here you can lock the maximum power that you can take your slider to. So however high you take it, plus 10 dB, it won't go there. It'll bounce back to 0. Quite useful on Oscar 100. Another lovely feature is the PTT delay. Here you can select how many seconds the PTT takes to dekey. So it gives the transmitter time to unload the buffer of information before dropping carrier. Very useful. Very, very, very useful. As I mentioned, background colours, there's selection up there for that. And then you've got everything else you could possibly need. Your call sign, frequency. This is very much normal stuff that we're all familiar with, etc, etc. Now, what it does do, and I need to go to other configuration, and this blew my mind, is apart from the fact you can set the Ethernet IP address, very, very useful, and do firmware patches, it's got the ability to, he said, here we go, you can set this in repeater mode, so this Pluto can behave like a repeater. I haven't got my head around it yet, but it looks quite interesting. As I say, not had any time to play with that, but it can apparently be a repeater. What else? There's probably more, but that's all I can remember. I feed it with one of these hardware encoders, so the audio, I need to sign in, hang on, you probably know this stuff, but yeah, the audio is stereo lining, because I have exactly the same issue with the HDMI. It is theoretically possible to select HDMI, but it don't work. And then the video, and it has 2 output streams, and this one looks like it's a high resolution 1080 stream at 25 frames. So this is almost certainly the output that drives my 77 transmitter into our local repeater. So 25 frames, 2048 bit rate, and 1080 H.265. and it looks fantastic. The network side of this one, on the multicast, your mainstream goes to 64, yes, I was right, which is the Ardelm Pluto, and the substream goes to 75, which is the, I happen to know because I'm a geek, is the 23.7 transmitter, which is why I'm playing with this Ardelm Pluto and not the red one, which is the live one. So I'll leave that there. I'll come back to the camera, put my head to the camera, and I hope that was interesting. I kind of stumbled across that combination. We use, or have been using 0303 Perseverance for our repeater on 23 centimeters, and I kind of adopted it at home because there was a lot of nonsense that you have to use ports down, and I thought, no, you don't. the Pluto would do everything that we need. So we dropped the idea of putting a ports down unit in our repeater. And then at home I thought, well, I don't need it. For the transmitters, that firmware 0303 Perseverance was perfect. And then recently, whilst I have been buying these new Plutos and boxing them in metal cases, I discovered this patch, and I don't know what you guys think of it, but I think that does everything. And the thing I love about it, it's all hardware based, so I could reboot my computer and all that will continue to work, and that for me is worth so much that it's not reliant. Well, actually, I say it will work. You'd have no pictures because I use OBS, but you know what I mean. The encoding, the RF is all in hardware boxes, and as such is incredibly reliable, and with that interface I think it's very doable. So anyway, that's that. G7BZY. Yes, motorbike. You've been banned. Oh no. I haven't quite got there yet. I've got my Kawasaki Versys 650 in the garage, and I've been waiting for a day like today. But today, all sorts of other things happened, so it didn't escape from the garage. Although the years are ticking by, and my health is not perfect, and add insult to injury, my hips have been a real problem these past few months. So it's probably not wise to ride my bike just yet. Hopefully if I can get my hips fixed, then I should be okay. But I've been motorcycling, oh crikey, 51 years. That shows my age. So, where's my screen? Having shown you all this stuff, I need to get rid of that. No, I don't. I need to very carefully bring that to that screen, and then go to that spreadsheet. And oh, it's Benno's turn again. Yes. So, let's find myself a test card and some music this time, and say over to you, Benno. And I hope all of you found that interesting and informative. This is G6MNJ. This is my final over for the day, so I wish you all best 73s. Bye bye.
Yeah, fine, Paul. Yeah, I know. I'm thinking of the guy's name. I'm still thinking about the guy's name, but Yeah, he made a nice patch on this Everest software, which is obviously already 4 or 5 years old, but yeah, the patch works great, and I know he still works with that patch and improves small bits and pieces. So yes, that looks great. I kind of lost the 0303 version out of sight after Everest went to MQTT control, because that made a lot of other options I don't use available, but so I kind of stick with a version which I hardly use because the whole reception part is not used by myself. Anyway, yeah, and I didn't like the Perseverance version because it saved, well, he took it 3 dBs down to save the final, well, a little bit warm on the processor BGA, because people tend to turn them up to 0 dB, and I do that as well, and I never had one broken, but obviously I'm also cooling the Plutos. So to show and tell a little bit, to give Henry a little bit more headache, I show a little bit of what I am using. And well, normally I'm using this as the main control, which is also controlling the MQTT Plutos, and I have 3 or 4 instances running on my computer, which run on their own folder, and I am running one for each Pluto I want to control. And this is basically doing all the work and also monitoring, and you can also even add the chat here with it, so it has all the information. And yeah, I have, well, there's so much options which you hardly use, but I kind of stuck with this to use the control, the MQTT version, and I lost this small beast in the meantime. And if I make it a little bit bigger, let's try to make it a little bit bigger, which is the DATV Easy version, which I very much liked because it took out all the controlling and what you needed to control on various frequencies on VHF, UHF. You can go easily with, and I have to be aware that I'm currently using it. I'm currently using it, and this takes basically every setting you need to think about using all the other. Well, you're using a bit of hardware encoding, but if you want a different resolution, you have to think and recalculate your resolution. And if you go to different, because I tend to go up to 1 meg on the local repeater, and even down to 66 kilosamples, and Easy does all that calculation and settings for you, even the image size and audio bit rate and things like that. It does it all automatically for you. You don't have to control, and it also has the monitoring in there, which I heard Henry talk about. You can connect an Arduino, simple Arduino Nano or something, with some temperature sensors and voltage sensors, and measure everything you need. And it even has the Eno inside the package, so you don't have to think too much about it, and you can do it all, even the PTT output with the delays you are talking about. So yeah, so much options, and I will not tell you what to choose. Besides, just know that they are there and available, and obviously it runs all on the network. And I'm currently using this one because I'm currently using the version, where is it? Which doesn't have the Italian patch on it. I wonder if it works. I think so. I should be able to test it once. Let's see if I can quickly move my screen back. So that's better. But this is the Libre SDR version from Manfred. He did a great job. Used a lot of ROP and AML code section, and also the mods for Roberto. That was the name. He's in there, and yeah, then his own source around it for the Libre. And I got this version only last day, and it works flawlessly, it works perfectly. The nice thing of this one, it actually has a control with the RX1, TX1, RX2, TX2, RX1, TX2 combination, everything, and even GPIOs you can control. And you can use a internal 10 megahertz references, and you can put it in a performance mode where you heat up the parts in the Libre nicely, but you use it in a higher profile, so you get a better throughput through there. The fun thing here is I can control now this. I now connected the TX1 to the 13 centimeter output to the amplifiers, and I connected the TX2 to my 23 amps, and I can run it on the local repeater, and it's all controlled so much easier and so much options. Yeah, well, in the end, I'm not going to tell you one thing. One other thing is, and that's completely off this whole topic, so I'm going to go back to my face. 23 SAMs, we all know it's highly onto it's highly under pressure via the IRU, and it's highly under pressure for sat-nav navigation, and we seem to lose a large pile of it. So because of that, they are now working on new band plans and new band ideas, and where the local repeaters should be. And one of my other assignments was to do the local repeater on 23 SAMs, and I had to modify it anyway for something else. I'm adding also All-Star to that repeater, but we are looking at a new band plan with 41 megahertz downward shift, meaning basically the transmitter is still on 1298.650, and then with a downwards 28 megahertz shift it used to be, and I moved it downwards with 41 meg shift, and I installed it a few days ago here on my local antenna, on my own antenna, and the local user group has modified their own transmitters, and they never, well, none of them found any problems so far. So 41 megahertz downward shift for the 23 centimeter FM repeater. That's something I found the testing. It took me about an hour. It took me about 30 minutes to modify the local oscillator and to get it working on the on that shift, and then it took me another half an hour to modify and fine-tune the Procom filter to accommodate for the 41 megahertz shift with the same specs, and that worked well flawlessly, and it was so simple. And I wonder if the people already are thinking about that. And as a test, we did it, and we didn't see any problems, and we now are in the process of testing it over a longer time, and probably the final decision will be made within soon to put it back into the repeater side with 41 megahertz shift. Obviously that takes another test period, but well, maybe that solves a lot of our problems, and we can keep the FM repeaters working. That's another part which what I wanted to add as a final, and that's all. 73 is all. Hope to meet you again on the air next week. I'm not sure if I will be here, because next week I'm also doing some fox hunting back. So we'll see what's happening there. 73 is all from Papa Alpha 3 Foxtrot Bravo X-Ray, and I'm passing it back to Peter. And yes, your lip sync was pretty good, Peter. From Papa Alpha 3 Fox Bravo X-Ray. Turning some test page. 73 is all.
There's my motorcycle. That was, well, one of them. That was my favourite one, which I sold in 2019. I think that was. They were taking it away. I bought a Royal Enfield 500. I thought I was doing the right thing. The parts were getting scarce. It needed a new diff on the back, and I sold it. I painted that two-tone. It looked really good. The two-tone copper and green, over slightly greeny base, so that it looked more camouflage than it should have done, which turned out to be really suitable for the motorcycle, for the sidecar outfit. The Russian Ural, for those who don't know what it was sort of. And a sidecar is, if you've never ridden one, is something very special. It's an experience, dangerous experience generally. A trip wasn't a trip without a near-death experience, but it was good fun, made it fun, and it required a fair amount of concentration. I had to plan for each corner, at least a corner in advance, if not two. I'm not going to go into it, boy, with the details of how to ride a sidecar, but it's quite exciting if you get it wrong. Like death's exciting. All good, good and everything. Cosper CG, used by Eurovision Song Contest. As it happens, it works as a graphics provider, so you can feed what is it, and fill in and put any graphics over the video. Also, I'm running it as a TV station with an overlay, a downstream key, and now and next, and probably a few adverts just for playing. But it could do everything. It worked very well. You can trigger it various ways, so you could use it as a repeater for the idents and information, etc. But anyhow, that's what I'm using. I was just thinking of Gary's computer. I had a similar problem feeding my laptop into my mixer, which I don't use very much. It doesn't like the output, the HDMI output from my camera. Camera's about 15 years old, and it's probably interlaced at 50, even though the camera claims it is 1080p, but I'm sending out 720p. But the mixer doesn't like it, and you get a jitter occasionally. So maybe the camera's getting old and needs some new capacitors. Anyhow, it works fine into my Magewell dongle. HDMI capture, USB 3. The output, I don't know if you've got a NVIDIA graphics card chip in the laptop. I would go into the display settings and then set up the audio output, because it does. I'm sure there's a box there to tick for the audio output to come out through the HDMI socket. That could be wrong, and it could be coming out 32 kilohertz or something. There's a sort of strangeness out of some laptops. I think what I'm thinking of is the Raspberry Pi 4 that I have. I use it as a receiver, and I wanted to feed the output into my mixer and into the computer, but the sound wouldn't work. It came out very digital and Dalek. So it sounds like your problem, Gary. I use the cameras directly fed into the Magewell dongle. You could feed line level audio into your camera and then use that, because that automatically synchronizes it. Well, it intended to. Mine's is synchronized from the camera, but when it gets to the transmitter, it just seems to lose its way. So it still would want some adjustment. But that would produce, I think, a very good audio, and one that is, easily follows the video. I have a USB mixing desk as well somewhere, which I don't use anymore. And then you can use balanced audio, of course. I always use that balanced audio because it goes straight into the camera. So my microphone, it's an old camera top microphone, one of the old ones from up the top there. The lens here is about 30 odd years old, maybe 40 years old, and the camera's probably 15, so it's still working well. Old broadcast gear is always the best way, I'd say, for just working. If you wanted it just to work, I go with Magewell as well, put that in the same camp. From GW7BZY. With the audio processing, I'm running 10 dB, 10 times compression at 10 dB. So if I shout, it doesn't get a lot louder. Not a lot quieter either. Anyway, with that, from GW7BZY, probably not on next week. Sorry I missed last week. I'll be working again next week, I think. Possibly. If not, I'll be on. Otherwise, this is it from GW. Thank you, Gary, for hosting the worldwide net, and to the satellite people for allowing us to use their satellite. With that, I'm going to... there is other things I wanted to say, but I've forgotten. It's been so long since I was on. With another look at my sidecar outfit, my much missed Ural 750 Russian sidecar outfit.
Right, let's see if we've got a bit of sound. It looks that way, so we'll assume that's working. Yeah, I'm streaming at the moment on JKRE on the BATC forum, BATC streamer site, and the way in which that's done, if I go over to the other camera, Not that one. I want the roving one. That's probably going to confuse myself totally. Let's mute the sound that's coming back over here. I think that's... Oh no, let's mute the sound there. That's right. Okay. Right. Well, down here, I have a ride receiver. I'm also being helped by my friend who thinks she likes to help. Anyway, the ride receiver, that's the one on the end, is fed into this little switch box that sits up there. And prior to that, there was a 2-way split. So it feeds the monitor that's up there, and also feeds into a dongle down there, which is one of these capture cards. That then goes into my laptop over here, which is running OBS and is streaming to the BATC, and is also streaming to my SRT repeater, just to confuse things. It's confusing me if it's not confusing anybody else. But let's get back to some normality somewhere. So that's how I do it there, Gary. And provided you select the appropriate settings, in OBS to select the right input, then it should be okay. Right, let's mute that. Let's change into unmuted. I did have a problem that I had no sound, and I couldn't work out why I had no sound on the digital side when I was trying to do what I'm doing at the moment, and I'd actually muted the ride receiver. So that was my problem. I was looking for something really complicated. I rebooted the computer and such like that's doing the streaming. But anyway, motorbikes. Yeah, I started off with things like Bantam and an Aero Arrow at one stage, and a Triumph Speed Twin. Was probably the latter of my bikes. Had a bit of play in the swinging arm, so it wasn't terribly good in that respect. But talking about sidecars, a friend of mine that we used to go out as a group of us on these really ancient bikes, and he always used to be taking his bike apart and bits and pieces and such like, and he had a sidecar, and he'd bolted the sidecar on, and we're in just north of Worthing. There's a sort of a cemetery corner sort of type thing that's known as, slightly uphill, and you go around the corner and the sidecar comes off with his missus in it and goes flying straight on. Luckily no damage, but I always remember that. And controlling the sidecar, I think the sidecar is not good. Right, now I use at the moment I'm using SDR television, and to control my let's get to the right page. Not that page. Clicking on the wrong things now. Where's it gone? They must have. Oh, there it is. Right. Let's go to the right screen. That's actually a program done by F6AAM. F6AAM. It runs on a Raspberry Pi, and that's how I'm monitoring my voltage, the temperature, the PA, and the current. I'm not measuring the forward and reflected or anything else. You can switch things. The bottom relay actually switches between the Pluto that's in the garage or Pluto that's in the shack here. So I've got one that's on the network and one that's just USB in, which is what I'm on at the moment. And so you can decide on the three things. The final one's the PA, So it should be just click on the green and it goes over the other side. So you've got another nicety with it. You can set the thresholds, so current and side. So if things suddenly start doing nasties, it will cut out. That's F6 AM. Made it bigger, really, shouldn't I? But that's there are a couple of variations on it, but you might want to look him up. There's lots of information he's actually put up there. I'm not a programmer, and it did need a little bit of additional alteration to what I was doing, which Phil helped me with to get things to match the current device I'm using. But anyway, that's what I use on that side of things. I didn't want to click on that, did I? Likewise, DATV Red. I'm not running it at the moment, but absolutely superb. One of the niceties with it, as Ben I think said, it comes in its own little folder as such when you install it. That's actually connected to the Pluto that's in the garage. I can obviously start things up and control stuff there. But I have a laptop that I tried to run. It's an i5, but it didn't have the processor with the appropriate bits in it that SDR television would run. DATV Easy I tried to run, it wouldn't have that. So by chance I stuck DATV Red on, and it runs that no problem at all. So I think it's because everything's in one little folder, so you can install it, and it just does it. And providing you've got the right bits installed on the Pluto, then it talks to it and grabs all the relevant information. So let's go back to me. He says camera. So yep, Gary, I think you've probably not got something selected. I remember on the ride, depending on what audio you wanted out in the menu, that there was a setting that you selected whether you wanted analog audio out or whether you wanted digital audio out. I don't know whether you've always been using digital audio or whether you were using analog before, but that's the only thing possibly might be worth looking at. Being Peter sort of highlighted that to the side of things. And DATV Easy, I can also say, is a nice little program. I've got a little Raspberry Pi set up with the appropriate relays on, so I could actually stick that in and just control things from that. That does work exceptionally well with the delays and bits and pieces that you can put on it. The other program that you're running there, why don't I make more notes, Paul? Which I can still hear a noise, which I didn't think it was cooking. I think it was actually something on your audio, but maybe it is cooking. But yes, I used to run that program that you're running ages ago, and I was quite sold on it at one point, but then I wanted to change to something else, and at that stage I think it had updated the firmware and I had difficulty in getting back to as I was, but I don't know what I'm doing half the time, so quite often I have to reset things back to square one. But it was well written. I think with the memories, which may have improved, that you could set up all these memories, but you couldn't then move the order that they were in. But maybe that's been altered. That was quite some time ago. But since then, I've gone over to the latest firmware that Everest has run with either DATV Red or DATV. There's going to be some updates to that. I think he was talking about when he was on last week or the week before, to simplify it down to not have a lot of the complex things that he's got in it. I think that's what he was looking at possibly doing. It's usually me, I forget. All I can say is don't get old. On that note, 7 to all. Thanks there, Gary. And they're good pictures. And round to you there, Brian. I'll put a bit of test card and I'll get the right thing on the screen so I can kill the transmission from G8KOE.
Oh, let's give this another try. I've got audio. Oh, let's give this another try. Audio. Oh, crikey. Yeah, a bit loud. I'll sit back a bit. Oh, crikey. Yeah, a bit loud. Oh dear, excuse me, I've still got this cough. Dispute that. Put me up. Yeah, that's what you get for changing things. I was playing during the week with different sound options and I never put it back. Yeah. Not too much to add, comment on. The only thing I will say is a lot of different bits and pieces and things people are using. I'm still with OBS, OTG, Ethernet, Pluto. That's it. Nothing in between. OBS or SDR television. I can run either. But that's all I use. Got no bits and pieces, other software involved. It's all set up and bits and pieces in OBS. My phone works for me. Of course, it's stuck on 264, H264, unless I run SDR TV, which I could do. But I don't know. But somehow at the moment, I still prefer OBS as a front end. But, though you can drive SDR TV with OBS. I've still got a tickly cough. I know I'm going to cough again in a minute. Got hold of the mute button that time. Yeah, I'll just say good afternoon because I'm not feeling too great. I've got another rituximab infusion 4 or 5 hours tomorrow at hospital for my RA, which is flared up something chronic. Had to have a steroid injection and all sorts. Whereas your inflammatory levels are supposed to be up anywhere between 1 and 14. I'm up to 76. So I'm having an awful time with it. So I'll say 7 threes and put it around to Gary. Test card up. Bit of noise, and I should say 7 threes.
Okay, Brian, your music was lovely. Your audio is still not perfect. Not like I know you. You've normally got very good audio. But you had the same problem long time ago. And it's, I'm sure something to do with the feed on OBS. But because you suddenly come and then you go, and then you come and then you go. So I don't know if you've got a, what do you call that thing, a processor in the background. That's very possible. And, you know, these filters that you can get. Maybe you've got something like that running in the background that's causing the problem. But a noise gate, that could be possibly a problem. Anyway, guys, I've been called to come and eat. We're running a bit later than normal. It's almost 7 o'clock in the evening our time. So I'm going to close the net. Thanks to everyone for coming up. Nice seeing everybody, of course. And we certainly look forward to the next time, next Sunday. Yeah, it'll be the 1st of the month, I think. Could be. Anyway, so the years go, eh? Gee, I can't believe it's virtually the end of February already. 7-3 to all. Thanks, Benno, for the tip there. And we'll try and find a solution. But yeah, that's a better idea, is use everything on the one computer. Pick up the YouTube and then source it through and then transmit it out. Now, that's possible. But sometimes I like a separate, like now I do the YouTube on a separate unit completely so that I'm independent on the transmit side. Anyway, that's my story for the week. Wish everybody a happy week, and thanks for coming up. This is ZS6YI, now closing the net, saying 7-3 to all.
Ah, that reminded me, Gary. Oh. Gary. Is that audio right? Yeah, right. I had some sort of noise gate on. I've taken it off. G6HFS. You're right. I had some sort of noise gate on. I've taken it off. G6HFS. 7-3s.
Aha! Now you're much better. You're the Brian of the past. These things happen. You chuck that noise gate right out. 7-3 Brian. That's much better. 7-3 ZS6YI QRT.